Hello my lovely, and thank you for joining me here in my kitchen for Thursdays with Annette. I'm so glad you're joining me because today we're doing a super easy recipe that is super delicious. Now we're making a recipe out of book 6. This is the big book. It's got the masterclass in it. So in book 6 we have got the delicious sweet teriyaki beef. So I'm going to make that for you today, but I'm doing a twist on it because with this recipe you normally make the sauce, cook your steak and then pour the sauce over the top. But today I'm going to go to the variation because this is how we tend to do it in our house, is we cut the steak into strips and make it a bit of a stir fry thing. So I'm going to show you that variation today. Of course you can always do it the way it is in the book, but I like to show different things. So that's what we're making today. But before we get into that, let's talk about last week's show. We had the mango chicken out of book 1 and lots of entries. And of course to enter you have to do the like, share and hashtag. And I know the lovely Diane Kozek did this, but it's also was her birthday this week, so happy birthday to you. We're dragging it out for you, honey, because she was on the Tuesday show mentioning it. But I thought, you know what, it's your birthday, honey, let's let you win the book 1 as well. So you're one of the winners. So is Joyce Lambert and Doreen Prout. All are getting a personally signed copy of book 1. So who's going to win book 6 this week? I know, it's exciting. So let's look at the ingredients we need for sweet teriyaki beef. So we need garlic and ginger. Now, of course, you know I'm a lazy cook, so I always use the ones in the jar because they're crushed and ready to go for me. I like that. But you can always use fresh if you prefer. We're going to do some onions sliced, red capsicum. Now we've got steak. Now, because I'm not doing the pieces, it doesn't matter what size they look like. So I'm going to just chop them up. So we want 600 grams. But if you're doing it with the piece of steak, it's 4 by 150 grams. We're going to use some sherry. We've got some low salt soy sauce, corn flour, evaporated milk, and this is the teriyaki sauce or marinade that I use in this recipe, and it just makes it super easy because basically it's got all the flavors you want. And who doesn't love teriyaki? And I've got some cooking spray as well. All right, let me get my trusty sharp little knife going here and let's move this out of the way so you can see what's happening. All right, so I think I'll get the onion out of the way first. I want a cup of sliced onion. Now, the key here is it's not diced, it's sliced, and we're going to cut them into quarters and slice them that way. I always think it's really good to get everything done first and then we can just start cooking and boom, 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 done and dusted. And as you can see, I'm using brown onions here today. Get this skin off. All right, I've got my little bin over here so I can throw all my stuff in. Makes it easy when you're cooking. Have a little, just a little bowl so you can throw in eggs and you know, shells and onion skins and whatever. It just means it's just quicker and easy. And who doesn't love quick and easy in the kitchen? So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut them in half. Now we need a cup, so I've got my little trusty measure cup here, and then we just slice. It's not diced in this recipe. Even if you're doing it like I am as a more of a stir fry. And look, to be honest with you, the best way to avoid that stinging eye, watery eye thing going on is by having a sharp knife. And that's why I love my Neo Flams, because look at me, not a tear in sight. Okay, so we've used half a large onion. So just to give you an idea on that, it'd probably be a small onion would probably do it. So I'm going to move that over there, put it in my little container to use later. All right, so now it's a red capsicum. You could put green in if you want. I don't really mind, but I just like the whole red colour. And we want 3/4 of a cup of diced. Okay, now if you've just joined me and you're thinking, what's Annette doing in the kitchen this week? Well, thanks for joining me. And we're making sweet teriyaki beef. Now, normally my dicing, I'll say, you know, fine dice, but with this recipe, I tend to be a little bit more chunky. So I'll show you what I do. So instead of doing, you know how normally I do it, I'll go really close and do the small dice. I'm going to just take them probably about 1 centimetre in dice. And I think the red colour looks really good in with the beef. Okay, so we need 3/4 cup. Let me see how I'm going here. I think I might need a little bit more. Just a little bit. All right, so as I said, chunkier dice. Now, basically, all we've got to do now is the rump. And if you were doing the normal recipe, you would just be done really, because you don't even have to slice up your beef. But what I want to do today is talk about this, because I've cleaned this up before we started, because there's always this stuff on the side of your rump. Now, to me, when I look at that, that is what clogs our arteries. This is fat, and it's, you know, see how it's firm and solid. When we eat that, that will sit in our arteries, that solid mass of fat. And you know me, I'm all about health and well-being, also about weight loss. And so to me, that's got to go. I mean, I'm sorry, no. So let's chop that off now. I always prefer to get the fat off before we cook. Chuck it, just turn it over to make sure you haven't missed anything. And also here, when you get that little bit of skin, sinew, that's what I would call it, sinew. Let's take that off as well, because we don't want that in our stir fry. It doesn't enhance the meat at all. So when you're buying steak, always allow for that extra weight of the fat to come off. All right, so we're ready to, normally maybe I'd bash that down a bit, there'd be under the grill or in the pan, we're good to go. But today we're doing the variation, and I'm doing strips. So it's 600 grams with the fat off, you know, ready to dice like or slice like I am right now. And look, protein, look at that beautiful red meat. That's what we want. We don't want the white stuff. That's for sure. Now, the variation to this as well is you can do teriyaki chicken, or you can do tofu. So once again, with the chicken, you could either do it in a piece of chicken with the sauce over the top, or you could slice or dice your chicken, and you'd use the chicken breast without the skin. Now, what I've done with the tofu is I tend to get a piece of tofu and I actually slice a piece. So it's 100 grams, I think it is, per person, and then pour the sauce over, and you just pan fry the tofu, and it's great for people that are vegetarian. So if you've got a vegetarian coming, you could always make your beef version, make the sauce up, and then serve tofu for them. It's good if you can sort of kind of all have the same thing when you're dining. And it's not always easy to think about people's dietary needs. Like, for example, if you wanted to be dairy-free, you could replace the evaporated milk with almond milk. And put a little bit more corn flour in though, because it's slightly runnier than the evaporated milk, but it works really well as a replacement. I see, I'm always trying to give you solutions here on Thursday with Annette. There we go. We are looking fabulous. All right, so teriyaki beef. It's out of book 6. I don't need my chopping board anymore, so let's put that in my soapy sink. And I'm going to wash my hands and turn on the fry pan. Let's bring it over. All right, so let's get that on. Now, what we're going to start with first is I'm going to put in a teaspoon each of ginger and garlic, but let's just spray the pan first. There we go. Now, teaspoon crushed. That's what we want. And the same with the garlic. All right. Now we're going to put in the onion. See, it's easier when you've chopped it all up ahead, hey? And there is our capsicum. Now we're just going to cook them for just a short bit. Normally you would follow the recipe by making the sauce with it, but today we're going to put the beef in as well. So I just want to cook that off. Traditionally, teriyaki beef would be about 20 grams of fat a serve, but my weight for the beef is 4.4 grams of fat. The chicken is 3.6 grams of fat, and tofu is 8.5. So you can see these are much healthier, not only for the hips, but for your heart as well, because they're low saturated. Now, let's start putting the beef in. I'll just give that another stir. Now, as usual, we're just going to put the beef in a little bit at a time. We want to keep it sizzling. Might turn that up. And I just love it with a bowl of basmati rice. I was in Costco's the other day and I bought black rice. And it's a low GI rice as well, and I am dying to try it. Has anyone tried the black rice yet? Because when I've had it at like healthy cafes and that, but now I'm going to be able to make it at home. So it's on the menu to go with a stir fry soon in my house for sure. Right, so there's the beef. Let's wash my hands again. All right. So now, all we've got to do, once this has started to cook a bit more, is we're going to add in the sauce. So we've got the low salt soy, because this is good for your heart health as well. So it's not just about the fats we look at. I try to look at the whole package, especially if you're someone, for example, that has diabetes. You need to look for all the little things like low saturated fat, you know, the GI is something you consider as well, and also the sodium, which is salt. And you get all that at the bottom of my recipes. All right, so let's stir this together. Now, in this recipe, it serves 4. It's got a difficulty rating of 1. I know, it takes little skill. But I wanted to show you how to do this the way we do it here, which is in this, the sliced version. There we go. And, you know, I don't want to overcook the beef. That's why I just did the onion and the garlic and the capsicum just a little bit first, because we want it to be tender and fabulous. So now what I'm going to do, while that's still cooking, is I'm going to add in the sauce. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 teaspoons of the low soy sauce, low salt soy. 1, 2. Right. We're going to put in the sherry. Now, the sherry is a real bonus in this particular recipe. It tastes amazing in it. And I think in the olden days, we want 1/4 cup of the sherry. I think most in the olden days, back when my mum and grandmother were around, they always had a bottle of sherry in the cupboard. But if you don't, you can replace it if you don't want to have alcohol in it. But I do say it really gives the depth to the sauce. You could replace it with 1/4 cup of water and a teaspoon of beef stock powder. All right, so that's if you don't want to put the sherry in. So in goes the 5 tablespoons of the teriyaki marinade. See how easy this recipe is? Thanks for joining me today. I'm really loving all the cooking classes we're doing. Tuesday is so much fun as well. So I hope you're watching both of them, because they're quite different each day. So this is the sweet teriyaki beef. I mean, this would be a fantastic easy dinner at any time you like, because basically you need onion, capsicum and beef. Boom. I have all this other stuff in my pantry at all times. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the final thing. The last thing we have to do is the evaporated light milk. and we want a cup. Now this recipe is suitable to be frozen for a couple of weeks because we're putting milk in it. Here we go. And now we're going to put in the corn flour, 2 teaspoons. Mix that together. In it goes. And once that's boiling, don't overboil it. Once the evaporated milk's in it, and it reaches boil, then either turn it right down or turn it off. Because if you boil this, viciously, it will separate because of the evaporated milk, and you don't want that to happen. I mean, you can still eat it if it's separated, but it just doesn't look as good. But I do state in the recipe, once it's cooked, boiled, stop. Now, I'm going to serve this with some basmati rice once it's ready to go. And what I'd love to also mention to you guys is that in a few weeks I'm starting my new winter challenge on my mentoring program. I'm super excited about it because I've been creating new menus, all new content. So if you want to join me, I don't want you missing out on this, because over winter and in lockdown, if you've been worried about weight gain, I've got you sorted. All you have to do is go to simplytoogood.com.au, which is my website, /membership. Check it out, see if it's something you're interested in, and I would love to be your mentor. That's right, you have me at your beck and call to help you with your weight loss. And myself, I've been in my healthy weight range since 1993, so do you think I know a bit about that? Yes, I do. All right, now look at this. Who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy, making up this beautiful teriyaki dish. I'm just letting it thicken up a little bit. Let that boil, just that little bit. Oh, see, now it's starting to get really active. It goes off. Alrighty, so let's serve it up. I've got my basmati rice waiting for me. Here is my teriyaki beef. Oh my gosh. And I would definitely serve some veggies and salad or veggies or salad. It's winter, so you might want to do veggies, because all you've got in there is really that capsicum and the onion. So a nice veggie side or salad would be fantastic. So there it is. There is teriyaki beef out of book 6, done and dusted. Can it get any easier, I say? Now, if you'd like to win a copy, a personally signed copy of book 6, you know what you've got to do. You have to like, share, and like the girls that won the Mango Chicken Day, hashtag Simply2Good. Remember, it's hashtag Sim. Watch your spell check, because your phones all want to do SIM, but you know why it's Symply? Guess. Hello, Annette Sym, that's right. So put that in, and I will pick 3 fabulous people to get a personally signed copy of book 6. Who doesn't want to enter that? Now, also let's talk about next week's shows, because they're going to be fabulous. I'm super excited about Tuesday's Home Ec with Annette class, so you have to join me there as well. I'm making garlic prawns out of book 1. Now, this is so low in fat compared to the traditional one that's based on cream, or in the olden days, if you're old like me, it used to be in the pots of oil. And I'm going to show you how to open up and clean your prawns and fan them, a simple, easy way to go with that recipe. Now, that's Tuesday, but next Thursday, I'm going to be baking, the oven's going to be on, and I'm going to be doing a recipe from book 3, and it's hummingbird cake. Oh, hummingbird cake! I'm a bit busy about that, because it's one of those cakes. It's got pineapple in it, banana. You need to be here for that recipe if you've never had hummingbird cake. I think it originated possibly in America. I need to do my research on that and let you know next week. So thanks for joining me. Remember, check out the mentoring program at my website, simplytoogood.com.au/membership. And of course, there's all recipes and tips, like the garlic prawn recipe will be on the website now for you to download it, so you can buy the ingredients and together we can make the garlic prawns. Well, we're done for another fabulous Thursday. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to catch you on Tuesday with the garlic prawns. So bye now.